Once they get in here, it's over, pal.
He's in the slot against the D lineman. Give it to him. Ball's knocked out of his hands. He's in the slot against the D lineman. He's in the slot against the D lineman.
It's time for another edition of You Make the Call.
IBM presents You Make the Call.
The Vikings have the ball, 3rd and goal, after having blocked a punt in the first quarter. Their backup center, don't know his name, not going to look it up, went out with an injury. And they've replaced him with their 3rd-string center, who may or may not have ever played football before in his life. Do you, A, run Dalvin Cook straight up the middle towards the 3rd-string center, or B, all of the above?
And again, they're going to go to Cook. And again, the Packers are on him and push him back.
Of course, the answer is either. Let's do a bonus You Make the Call. It's 3rd and 3. Jaire Alexander is on Justin Jefferson and is giving him about a 50-yard cushion. Do you, A, throw to TJ Hockenson, B, throw to TJ Hockenson, C, throw to TJ Hockenson, D, A, B, and C, or E, throw to some guy I've never heard of and don't even recognize?
3rd and 3. Up the middle they go.
Well, the answer is D, A, B, and C, because that's what Cousins did, threw to TJ Hockenson. That seemed to be the game plan. In fact, this might be called the TJ Hockenson Winter Jamboree. It was almost like they were showcasing him for an off-season trade or something. I don't know what was going on. It just throw to TJ Hockenson every play. And now, if you guessed E, that's understandable because there was a play later in the game where Cousins threw a touchdown pass to a guy I've never heard of and don't even recognize. And it's like, well, maybe if he put a little effort into trying to find Justin Jefferson instead of trying to find guys I've never heard of. That's Kirk Cousins. Anybody who wants to defend him, that is him. That has always been him. In the big moments, going back to 2018, big moment, he's looking for Laquan Treadwell. To the worst player in the NFL on 4th and 11.
He's in the slot against the D lineman. Give it to him.
And I'm not surprised at all by this result. Not at all. I was not looking forward to this game. Do we really have to play the Packers? And I expected Cousins to play terribly. Like Jaire Alexander did all that trash talking this week, and a lot of people are like, oh, well, he didn't actually cover Jefferson one-on-one. He got safety help and all this. You don't get it. Maybe he didn't necessarily win the battle on the field because he'd already won it. He had gotten into Jefferson's head with the trash talk. He knew Jefferson was going to lose his mind when Cousins was throwing to Hockenson on every play or when Cousins was checking down to run Dalvin Cook up the middle. I mean, Alexander knows it's 3rd and 3. He gives Justin Jefferson a 10-yard cushion. Well, Cousins isn't even going to look that way. And if Cousins did look that way, what Cousins would do, he would drop back, stare at Jefferson for a few seconds, give Jaire Alexander time to react, and probably throw a pick 6. And then it would be Jefferson's fault, though, I'm sure. The Cousins fanboys. Oh, it was Jefferson's fault on the pick 6. I mean, how many turnovers did Cousins have? Like 3? And I'm guessing none of them were his fault. Because if you get the ball in Justin Jefferson's hands early, and Alexander stops him, or someone else on the Packers defense stops him, you tip your hat to them and say, you know what? You beat our best player. But at least let's find out if they can. You know, I tip my hat to Jaire Alexander. As a Vikings fan, what would you give to have a Viking who could get in the other team's best player's head like that? You got to be mentally tough. You got to believe you can back it up. Vikings are not mentally tough. They're mentally weak. A lot of this is the old Vikings playing outdoors problem, complaining about their cleats. The turf's bad. They're just mentally weak. When they get outside in the cold, they're just weak. Anyway, our awards for this week. The Daunte Culpepper impression, that goes to Kirk Cousins, who I guess he was getting his roll on. It was interesting to compare him to Daunte Culpepper. In his prime, as brief as it was, Daunte Culpepper was fun to watch, incredibly fun to watch. Kirk Cousins is not fun to watch. The award for the point where I screamed at my TV loud enough that I hurt my voice, that goes to the Dalvin Cook up the middle on 3rd and goal with the 3rd-string center. My kids actually came running from the other room because they thought I was dying. They thought literally, I think, that I was having a stroke, and I think maybe I was. The Oh Shoot Your Luck Has Run Out award goes to Greg Joseph, who just 2 terrible misses. Terrible. The award for a guy who a lot of people think got lucky but didn't goes to Mason Crosby, who had that 56-yard field goal doink off the crossbar and go through. It's not luck when you kick it dead straight. Greg Joseph kicks that, it wouldn't have a chance to hit the crossbar and go through because it would have been 5 yards, 10 yards to the left or right. Patrick Peterson award for piss poor effort. That goes to the Vikings offense on those interception returns that Cousins had thrown. Our offense just doesn't make tackles. Now, part of it is when your receiver quits on plays because he's mad because the opposing team's cornerback got in his head the week before with trash talk. That doesn't help either. And when he takes his helmet and almost bashes an official on the head with it, that doesn't help either. This offense is just another sign of a team that's soft. Now, it'd be better if your quarterback wasn't always throwing to TJ Hockenson on every play, because then that first pick six wouldn't have happened and Brian O'Neill might not be hurt. The Philippe Petit Award for balance. Now, Philippe Petit was the guy who ran a wire between the World Trade Center towers back in the 70s and walked across it. But you have to have such great balance to walk on a wire like that. And the Vikings defense showed such great balance in the second half when they had 10 men on the field.
We got 10 guys. Somebody just run out there.
Somebody just jump on the field.
Just start coming. One of you, come on.
11 on 10. Here you go. Randall Cobb, first down.
But hey, Ed Donatel and that Vikings defense knew what they were doing because later in that drive, they had 12 men on the field. And if you take 10 and 12 and average it out, it's 11. Perfect balance. They knew what they were doing. Their goal was just to average exactly 11 guys per play on that drive, and they did. You know, everybody talks about 3-4-4-3. No, how about the 10-12 scheme? That's what Ed Donatel has introduced. Cheap shot of the week. The winner was number 7 for the Packers. Don't know his name. Not gonna look it up.
On one.
Got the first down as Osborne.
That's got to be a penalty.
He body slammed KJ Osborne. You see Jefferson get cheap shotted week in and week out. Nobody does anything, and they're not going to fight back. The Kevin O'Connell Award for a bonehead coaching decision. That was the end of the first half. I think there was under a minute left. The Vikings had driven into Packers territory, and I think they got a penalty because their third string center didn't snap the ball or something. It was 3rd and 14. They called a short pass. It was just a give up play. Because I think O'Connell decided just to settle for a field goal, which is embarrassing. They were losing, I think, 24-3 at the time, and you're trying to get 3 points when you know the Packers start the second half with the ball anyway. And you have Justin Jefferson, you're not even trying to get him the ball. So they settle for a field goal, and it's a 50-ish yard field goal. So you know Joseph is probably not going to make it. And he doesn't. Packers get the ball, and I think that's when Mason Crosby hit that 56-yarder. That was all on O'Connell. Just cowardly coaching. I mean, maybe he's worried about his third string center. I get it. And maybe he's worried about his quarterback who's never going to look at Justin Jefferson. That's just giving up. That's waving the white flag. I think the Packers are definitely going to be overconfident going into that Detroit game because I think they think they're really good. And it's like this was all about the Vikings being terrible, frankly. The good news is, though, I have complete faith that they will turn this around. They'll go into the playoffs with the wind at their backs, having beat the Bears. And in that first game of the playoffs, TJ Hockenson is going to go off. 20 catches minimum. And I'm so excited to see it.